Hello everybody, I'm LJ479 and welcome back to another Shadowventure devlog. In today's devlog, we'll be taking a look at the ocean area of the game and making some enemies for it. Let's go ahead and get started. The first enemy I'll be making is a jellyfish. These guys aren't going to be too hostile to you, but you will still want to avoid them because they can hurt you if you touch them. I started on the jellyfish by actually adding him to the game and coding him. Since I don't have a texture yet, I'm going to make him a pink square for now. After that, I began to work on his movement. I want him to move forward in the direction he is facing, and then randomly rotate every here and there. I first made him move forward in the direction he was facing, and after that, I added the random chance that he would stop, rotate, and then resume moving. Let's go ahead and test that. It doesn't seem to quite be working. Also, don't mind that I'm getting only like 5 FPS. I was recording this on my crappy school laptop. Anyways, after that I decided to take a break from coding and give him a texture, so I can actually tell which way he's facing. To get started, I drew a texture to get an idea of what he would look like, and after I was happy with it, I made a few frames for his propulsion animation. I then duplicated these to add movement to the tentacles. Once I was content with the textures, I imported them into the game and applied it to the jellyfish. From this point on, I did a lot of bug fixing and made some improvements to his movement, such as making him rotate when he hits a wall and making his movement more rough. Finally, I gave him collision with the player, so if you accidentally or for some reason purposely touch one of these guys, you take damage. To add on to the effect, I added this black fade effect when you take damage from him, as if the venom were affecting your vision. I'd say I'm pretty happy with the way this guy came out, so let's move on to the next enemy. Currently, a lot of the enemies in Shadowventure are based on creatures in real life, so I wanted to make this next one original. If you saw my last short, you would have already seen a preview of the next enemy. I knew I wanted him to be able to swallow you whole, which would insta-kill you. Another ability I thought would be cool is if you got too close to his mouth, you'd get sucked in, making this guy even more dangerous. I drew up some quick concept art to get an idea of what he would look like, and then I went into GIMP to begin drawing him up. I thought it would be funny if he looked rather innocent, so I gave him a more neutral face and made his mouth particularly small. Once I was happy with the base model, I duplicated him so I could draw the angry face, which he suddenly wasn't so innocent anymore. Once I was happy with the texture, I split his body up into 3 parts for animating. I animated the fins on the midsection of his body, the tentacles on the lower half, and the animation of him aggroing on his head. I also duplicated the tentacles and darkened them. I did this so I could layer the darker ones underneath of the lighter ones and make it look like he had more tentacles than just the 3 that I put on the base texture. Now that I've completed the sprite sheet, it's time to begin coding him. Although when I code something into the game, I have to name it. And believe it or not, I did not have an official name for this guy. I had been calling him the Big Nom, because he's big and he noms you. After messaging Carson to see his thoughts, he said that would be fine. I began the coding process by making his appearance in game. Unfortunately, he wasn't as big as I anticipated with the pixel scale of the game, so I had to double his in-game size. The problem with that is that he doesn't match the pixel scale of the game, so I may have to go back and double his texture size later. Also, I'm going to need to align his sprites, since as you can see, they are not quite aligned correctly. Since this guy has a rectangular hitbox instead of the square one like the jellyfish, the hitbox will need to resize to fit the rotation, which took way too long to get working properly. After a good hour or 2 of coding and asking ChatGPT for help, I got his rotations working properly. I then started on his movement code, which was pretty simple. I just had him swim around at random and begin turning at random. I then made him aggro at you if you got too close, which at that point you're in trouble. And that pretty much does it for the Big Nom. There are of course a few bugs that I have to crankle out, but I'll do that off camera because I highly doubt you guys want to watch me do that. To conclude this episode, me and Carson put together some decorations for the underwater area, and I put together another sample level using all of these things. So here's a look at what an underwater area of the game could look like. Before I end this episode, I'd like to do a section where I take feedback from you guys and talk about it. I had a commenter from last episode suggest a local co-op option, which could definitely be a possibility. I'm going to say this now, I will not be doing an online co-op option, but a local one could be a possibility. Since Shadowventure will be releasing on PC and possibly Linux only, it would be a little awkward to play co-op since a group of friends usually doesn't sit down in front of one of their PCs to play games as they would with console games. Other than that, there aren't really any other issues with having local co-op, other than me having to do a lot of recoding to existing parts of the game. That could mean a slightly later release or releasing co-op in an update after the release of the game, but other than that, local co-op is a good possibility. Speaking of release dates, last episode I don't recall saying anything about a release date, and that's because I don't have one. I don't want to give out any release dates as I don't want to disappoint you guys if it's not done by then, and I also don't want to rush it because that could ruin the quality of the game. I can say for sure that it won't be this year, so for now just stay tuned to the devlogs along with our socials for updates on the game. Of course, you're welcome to leave any feedback in the comments. Please do that, because I enjoy looking at the feedback, and then next episode I'll probably go over a few of them. With that said, that is going to conclude today's devlog, so thank you very much for watching, and I sure hope you are hyped for this game, and I'll see you in the next one.